Sweet. Here we are, episode 11.
You're counting down? No.
Where's your little sound that you know? Can't start the show without the rah. Today's a cool topic. We're going to look at gut health, especially for athletes. Why it's important for athletes, but for all of us, I guess. And we are lucky enough to be joined by Kayte, who is our Musashi naturopath.
Special guest today.
Kayte holds a Bachelor in Health Science and is our resident guru on gut health. So thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
It's a cool topic, and it's a topic that's come to light in the last few years, really. It's becoming more and more important.
Heaps of new research always coming out in gut health, and
Always.
It's kind of something that was never viewed as something too important, but now it's critical to health, performance.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Absolutely. The gut is everything to
Yeah.
do with health.
And it's crept its way into sports and nutrition as well, which is pretty cool because back in the day, you've got your sort of old school bodybuilders. They're just really concerned about macronutrients and getting enough protein, getting enough carbs and fat.
And their guts were terrible.
Guts are terrible. So it's like, what's the point of consuming all these calories from macronutrients if you've got poor gut health?
Absolutely. You're not going to absorb it. You're not going to utilise it. You're
That's
not
it.
going to grow to the optimum. I
Yeah,
suppose
you're not
that's
going
what
to
I'm
utilise those nutrients that you're taking in. So what sparked your interest in gut health? You sound like Dhiren when you say gut health is everything.
It is.
Dhiren
it
says
is.
amino acids are everything.
Well, amino acids play a big role.
Amino acids are everything if you're absorbing them, but if you're not going to absorb them, then there's no point, is there? Well, gut health is, I guess what sparked my interest is the fact that as a naturopath, everything is around the gut. If your gut isn't functioning and it's not healthy and at its best, you're not going to get the best out of your food. And there's no point in putting rubbish in and expecting to get good performance, right? So what's the point in putting good food in and if it's not being absorbed and broken down in the first place and then absorbed and then obviously, further down in the intestines being fermented and then getting all of those benefits of everything that's there.
So it's every naturopath I ever speak to, whenever a client comes in, they're always like, the first place I start is the gut.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What is gut health? It's a broad question.
It is a broad question. It's almost like how long's a piece of string.
Yeah.
However, what is gut health? I guess gut health in a way, if you have a healthy gut, it's the absence of any symptoms and it's the absence of any issues like bloating, constipation, flatulence, all that sort of stuff. But also, to I guess define good gut health is that, as we've just spoken about, is breaking down, absorbing, and getting the most out of your having a healthy microbiome. That's a term that everyone's starting to become familiar with. It's become really popular lately, which is excellent that people are starting to hear about it, and it's becoming a commonly used term because it's important.
Can you break down the term for
microbiome? It basically means all of the germs that you have on you and that you are meant to have. A healthy microbiome is all of those bacteria that are beneficial, and you are host to trillions. I'll just put it out there, trillions. You are covered in them. They're all on your skin. They're everywhere.
So microbiome is life.
Yes.
It is, really. There is theories out there that we are just an organism that hosts all of these, and it's a beneficial interaction. We give these little bacteria somewhere to live and thrive, and they give us huge amounts of benefits, particularly in the gut, which we can get onto.
Yeah, so bacterial cells actually outnumber your human cells.
They do.
So that's the theory that Kayte was talking about, that you're actually more bacteria than human.
You are.
Crazy. Definitely in
It's
my case, I feel, yeah.
But early to get
Some days more than
philosophical, but there's a theory that humans, because obviously human cells kind of evolved from bacterial cells, the humans are just this vehicle for your gut bacteria.
Pretty much.
If you think about yourself, your consciousness, it's like inside of you. So, it's the collective consciousness of your gut bacteria. Too deep to start off this topic, but
maybe a little too deep.
So bacteria could be controlling this whole world.
Could be.
Not humans.
We could
Absolutely.
just be bacteria vehicles,
We could be.
We could be.
What organs are, where does gut health start? What organs in the body do we need to sort of focus on for good gut health?
Okay. Well, I guess you've got to look at the gastrointestinal tract, and it is the second largest interface between the external environment and the internal organs. And there is only one layer of cells that separates that external environment to the first blood vessel that in your body. So you've just got this one little layer of cells that is protecting you from anything you're consuming. It's pretty full on. You think about it, it's a bit scary. So you want that layer of cells to be absolutely optimum and healthy, performing well and fed properly as well. Nourished.
When we say the gut, what is the gut?
Anything from top to bottom.
Okay, and what's top to bottom? Let's break it down really simply.
Your mouth to your anus.
There we go. There
So
we go.
Everything in between. And what falls in between?
Esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and of course you've got your liver comes in to help with all of that digestion and to filter everything as well. Of course, kidneys is but they're a little bit less linked than the liver because the liver is actually helping you to digest with bile is released in order to digest fat. Pancreas, because of course that's where your enzymes are coming from, and insulin, etc. So it's all
it's all connected.
It is all connected. Is there a more important part of that process? Is the anus the most important part, Dhiren?
No, my mouth is probably the most big mouth.
Probably is. What you're putting in your mouth is probably is
Yeah.
the most important part of it.
And digestion starts in your mouth. Your saliva breaks down food, and chewing is actually part of digestion.
Let's talk about the process. Like what happens? So your saliva's breaking down already as soon as you put it in your mouth.
Absolutely.
Then what happens?
And there are also, you have a microbiome of your mouth. There are bacteria in your mouth that are essential. They keep your teeth healthy, your gums healthy, and also they're helping to, again, break down food. But obviously salivary enzymes, number one, and chewing. Chewing properly. Eat mindfully, people.
Yeah.
Don't just go wolf it down.
That's hard for me. I pretty much inhale my food.
Yeah, it's hard for a lot of people. We're always on the run. You think about it.
A lot of people.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
A lot of people eat at the desks and not really paying attention to your food. That's why it's an emerging area of research that consciously, mindfully eating, you actually better utilize the food, right? Because you're chewing it, it fills you up more sufficiently.
Correct.
Because you're not thinking about it and you're focusing on something else. You're just going to keep eating.
Absolutely.
Which is why during lockdown I was just snacking mindlessly while on my computer.
So how much should we be chewing our food? Turning it into pulp? What's the term? Masticating, isn't it?
That's correct.
Yep.
Oh, Ross, you can't say that.
Say that carefully.
So should we be basically just turning it into pulp before we swallow it?
If you can. Yeah. Well, you should.
The more
you think about corn, okay, you don't chew corn, it ends up in the toilet bowl, right?
It does.
So
Funnily
make sure
enough,
you-
it always ends up a whole corn kernel in the toilet. I don't eat a lot of corn though. So.
No, nor do I.
No.
Fantastic, Austin Powers.
So chewing.
Chewing,
Super important, even just starting with that chewing.
and then what happens to the food from there?
Into your stomach,
Yep.
where you have hydrochloric acid, pepsin, so digestive enzymes come into play. There's also a little bit of churning going on, a little bit of mechanical stuff going on there with your stomach's kind of
the stomach
churning it
muscles contracting and things. Yeah.
and but mainly chemical breakdown, and that's where if you're not eating mindfully and you're just wolfing your food down, your brain doesn't have time to tell your stomach and your pancreas doesn't get a chance to release any of those or as enough of those, and so therefore you end up with all sorts of other problems further down the track.
So your brain and your gut are linked more than what we know, aren't they?
Do you know there are 400 times the signals going from your gut to your brain than there are from your brain to your gut?
So is our gut our brain, really?
Maybe.
Wow.
So maybe we are bacterial vehicles.
Maybe we are.
Well, look out.
So your stomach's further breaking it down with all the stomach acids and enzymes
Absolutely.
and whatnot, and then what?
And then into the small intestine for absorption and fermentation and more. That's where it gets really complicated.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep we want to go here.
We'll keep it fairly high level in this episode. We might dive deeper a little bit in another episode.
Yeah. So small intestine is a really interesting part of your gut because that's where a lot of your gut bacteria lives.
True.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, lactobacillus species particularly like to be in there. So if you hear, terms like lactobacillus acidophilus or lactobacillus rhamnosus, they particularly like to hang out in the small intestine. So they do a lot of, they produce a lot of digestive compounds, I'm going to say, keep it broad. Things like short chain fatty acids that help to then further digest things and create things like conjugated linoleic acid, CLA. Familiar with that? Most people are familiar with that from breakdown of certain dietary supplements. So yeah, small intestine, very, very important. Large intestine, a bit more of a, okay, this is what we don't need. Let's get rid of it.
So it's just the waste.
Compacting
Vehicle for waste.
Yeah.
your excretions.
Yep.
Yeah, almost. There's a lot going on in the large intestine still. But
So do we need to influence each stage of this digestion process? And is
We
your
can.
body taking care of certain parts of it? Or how can we influence this process?
wow, well, I
Obviously
think
good food choices and things
absolutely. Again, start with the basics. Eat carefully. Eat mindfully, think about what you're doing, switch everything off, eating at the desk, for me, a lot of the time, because I'm on the road for my job, a lot of the time it's in a car park, I'm sitting in my car, so I take my own food. And at first, for a little while there, I would be I've got to get into the next door, and I'd be throwing my food down, and I'd feel terrible later, rely on digestive enzymes, and I thought, hang on a minute, just stop. Even if you are sitting looking at a brick wall, who cares? Just phones away, don't think about anything else, just concentrate on what you're doing, and it's so much better.
That's
It's
so
much-
interesting because I've never thought of it that way. And I've actually never heard of it, like mindful eating.
Yeah,
Because you're always doing something. You're either watching TV, you're not really paying attention to what's on your plate. You're not paying attention to chewing your food properly. You're not. So yeah,
there's a lot to be said for sitting down at the table
Yeah.
for dinner, having your
we could all
family-
do with that just that time away from devices and everything as well.
Absolutely, yeah. For all of that blue light stimulations, just can be, it's not good for your brain.
And another thing that can influence your gut health and gut bacteria is exercise.
Absolutely.
All the stress of exercise, inflammation, and things can affect your microbiome, the types of gut bacteria in there, and
In a good way or a bad way?
Both.
both. Yeah.
Wow.
How can it,
So
how can it impact in a bad way? If you're just exercising too much?
Over, yeah.
overtraining.
Yes.
Too much exercise, lots of inflammation, lots of stress on your body.
Heat.
Yeah.
Getting too hot.
Really? Like your body temperature.
Yes.
So hydration would help.
Hydration, yes. The right amount.
Yeah.
So why is gut health important for athletes? We quickly touched on it, but,
Yeah.
but why especially for athletes?
Well, and particularly for athletes, I guess, because you want to make sure that you are getting the most out of your food. Most athletes at certain level, even the average person going to the gym or doing whatever it is, whatever their chosen sport, they're quite aware of what they're wanting to eat. They eat well most of the time. So they've got their diet sorted. They're eating nutritious food, but what's the point if they're not actually utilising it?
Yeah.
So there's no point in eating it's not that there's no point, but they're not going to get the best out of it. They're not going to perform as well. They're not going to particularly, let's go back to something really basic like bodybuilding. You want to build muscle. You're not going to build as quick or you're not going to recover as quick if you're not absorbing your nutrients really well. So that's where sometimes digestive enzymes can come in if they need to, but otherwise there's lots of food ways of doing it. Eating bitters, things like rocket. I'm going to go rocket. I would say dandelion leaves sometimes, but don't go picking dandelions, people, because you probably picked the wrong thing. Plus, they're full of potassium, and they're also called wet the bed, so you don't want to be doing that either. So, just in case.
When I went to North America, I saw this thing on the menu, this exotic-looking thing called arugula. I was like, what is this? And it turns out it's what they call rocket in North America. And then I was telling my cousin, we call it rocket. They're like, rocket?
So super important for athletes. How do you recognise poor gut health? Because I think like some of the symptoms you rattled off before, I think everyone has experienced at least one of
Absolutely.
those symptoms at some point.
For sure.
And it can even change throughout the day. Like I feel sometimes, in the morning, I don't know, after breakfast, I might get bloated, and then towards the end of the day, I'm fine. I feel amazing.
Yeah.
So, like, how quickly can it change, and what symptoms should we be looking at initially to recognise that we might have a gut health problem?
Okay, well, I think bloating is probably the most common and one of the most recognised. Changes in bowel habits. So obviously, if let's use keto diet for an example. If somebody's not really well educated on it, and they just go, I mean, there's plenty of Instagram pages. I look at a few and I think, oh, really? That's like a day's worth of calories. Like, it's terrible. It's revolting because it's a stack of burgers and cheese and bacon and looks delicious. But, well, so it doesn't really look delicious to me, but it probably appeals to lots of people. But whereas, you know, if I'm doing keto, it's plant-based, but it's all of those low-carb plants. There's lots and lots of plants because you're going to get fibre, chia seeds, all of those kind of things. You've got to remember that you need fibre to feed your gut, particularly your lower parts of your digestive system. So small and large intestine, we really need a lot of fibre in there in order for those bacteria to ferment the foods and for them to do their job. So I guess changes in bowel habits can be a really good one because they might get constipated or they might end up with diarrhea. It might go one of two ways. But bloating is definitely a really good one because that is generally you're not breaking down your food enough, that food goes into your small intestine, your bacteria start to break it down, cause gas and, you know, create gases that you're not supposed to have that much of. We all do. It does. That's normal. But it just depends. You know that, another one is really smelly flatulence can be a really big...
That's pretty big in the bodybuilding community from what I've smelled at the gym some days. But
yes, and there you go. And they'll say, oh, it's because I'm eating chicken and broccoli and that's all I'm eating. And you think, well, you know, spice it up a little bit.
Can eating heaps of fibre through foods like leafy greens, can that cause bloating though?
Yeah, it can if your gut bacteria are imbalanced. So that's when it comes into the really nitty-gritty of it. We're getting a little bit deeper here, and you've got to get that balance and you've got to get that right because there are certain types of bacteria in your gut that will create really bad side effects like that. So that's where, you know, certain types of pathogenic bacteria that are not so friendly.
Bad
we
bacteria.
need all of them. So you know, we'll call them bad bacteria. We need them. We need little bits of those, but we need to keep them under control.
Where does this sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right.
While we're on bacteria, where does this bacteria come from? Is your body making it, or are we getting it from externally?
When you're born, when you're born, you get that from your parents, from your mum, and you know. Not all children are born naturally. You know, sometimes they're born by cesarean and that can affect them for the first couple of years. Yeah. But because they're getting contact with their parents, that remedies very, very quickly. There was a thought that it was about 8 years that it affected children that were born by cesarean, but it's actually not quite. Yeah.
There's like
the more research, the more we're discovering.
Higher prevalence of allergies and things like that from people that don't get exposed to this bacteria correctly from the mum when they're born.
So the first few years are crucial in setting up a good sort of bacteria environment.
That's right. That's why kids should eat dirt.
So what if you're not exposed to that as a child? Like, is it a genetic thing or it's more like exposure?
Well, also, you know, your diet is important too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the diet, the environment where you know, some people are really germaphobes and they disinfect everything.
It's
not a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing to do. So, for instance, you know, at the moment everyone's sanitising their hands, which they should be, you know, depending where they're going. But washing them with soap is actually enough. Soap will get rid of most of it will get rid of the unwanted germs, the pathogenic kind of stuff, but it preserves the stuff that's supposed to be there. So
have you seen men wash their hands in public toilets?
No, I don't.
It's like they run it underwater for about a second and then walk out. Yeah. Ooh, clean as a whistle.
That explains a lot.
What is causing poor gut health? Like mainly in like today's society, what is the main cause?
There's a few.
What's your guess, Hal?
Yeah.
Alcohol?
Oh, alcohol does have an influence. Yes, absolutely. And also other drugs, all sorts of drugs, medications. Any kind of medications. I'm not even, we all know that antibiotics will affect your gut microbiome. It does disrupt it for quite some time. In fact, the theory is that one course of antibiotics will affect your microbiome for 2 years.
Is that right?
It takes 2 years to recover.
Because antibiotics, their purpose is to kill this bad bacteria that's entered your body. But, broad spectrum antibiotics don't care. They
just kill everything. Yeah. And they do the job. Look, they save lives.
So would you say antibiotics is probably the single biggest influence on poor gut health? Because everyone's used antibiotics at some point.
No, I wouldn't. I'd say diet is... Diet.
And by diet, let's
because that's everyone eats.
Let's delve down deeper. Like what things that we're taking in our diet would be contributing?
Low fibre and high sugar.
Okay.
Highly processed food.
Highly processed,
all this sugar that's in everything, all this preservatives. Preservatives are designed to keep food alive by, suppressing bacterial growth. But, food with too much preservatives can obviously impact your gut bacteria because it's literally there to, affect bacterial growth.
So pretend I'm a client. I'm walking in. I've got a good diet. I'm eating lots of fibre. I don't eat much sugar, but I'm getting all this bloating. I'm having digestional upset. Where do you go next? What are we looking at next?
I would examine the diet and tell them to be honest.
Okay.
And don't lie to me because most of them do.
So say for
they
me,
tell me they've got a great diet and they tell me all the things that I want to hear.
Yep.
But it's never true. It was rarely true. So I gave up after a little while of asking people about their diet and taking them through their diet because most of the time they just told me what they thought I wanted to hear anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So I would go through, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're gonna put you on this diet. You're gonna follow this, and you need to increase more plant foods because essentially plant foods and wash them. Please wash them.
How well do you have to wash fruit and veggies these days?
That's a pretty big question.
Honestly, I just run it under the tap and dry it off, and that's it. But what I've heard, people go to the extreme of soaking it in vinegar, and how extreme do we have to go with washing our food?
I don't think you have to go too extreme, but I think it is important to wash your vegetables, unless they're organic.
Hal soaks all his food in unleaded petrol. He's that frightened of the pesticide in my gin. Oh, right.
Well, yeah. Some of these, some foods, fruits and vegetables in particular, have heaps of pesticides, and just because they're from the farming practices and things. So some of them require a bit more washing than others.
So would you recommend organic fruits and veggies?
If you can.
Yep.
If you can.
And so the pesticides could have a big impact on...
Pesticides do have an impact on your health, yeah. But
Okay.
it's something that's pretty unrealistic for a lot of people is to be able to have organic or homegrown.
And most of them, you just wash it thoroughly and it's good enough.
Yeah. So
it's the best you can do.
Yeah. Let's talk alcohol. Because I'd say the majority of our listeners are probably young guys, right?
Yep.
And they're probably consuming a whole heap of alcohol on the weekend. They're probably binge drinkers.
Yep.
What sort of impact is alcohol having on our gut health?
It has a huge impact. It has an impact on your stomach and has an impact on your gut bacteria. Yes, it does.
What is it doing? Why is it?
Well, if you think about what do we use as disinfectant? Alcohol.
Right. Yeah.
It's all alcohol based. So it's actually harming. I mean, it can erode your stomach. And then it's affecting your gut bacteria as well. So it can kill them off. And that way, so what happens when say antibiotics, alcohol, anything that is detrimental to your good bacteria, your friendly bacteria that are doing you good and doing wonderful things for you, anything that affects those and kind of kills them off, it gives the bad bacteria an opportunity to come in and take hold, and it's kind of... I also don't always call them bad bacteria or pathogenic bacteria. I call them opportunistic. It gives them an opportunity to come in there and adhere to the lining of your gut and take over. And that's where people also start to get a lot of problems. That's where you get really, quite nasty disturbances in your bowel, like we were talking about, really stinky flatulence. That can be a side effect of some nasty bacteria taking over.
What do they do to the lining of the wall? Are they just I picture these little things?
Inflammation, causing inflammation, and then that leads to autoimmune problems. It leads to inflammation of the nervous system. This is where it comes into, insulin resistance and differences in leptin and all sorts of things like that. But
So poor gut health can be linked to like weight gain and things like
absolutely,
that as well?
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
strong link?
A strong link,
Right.
Yes. Fix the gut first.
Eating a very high sugar diet can cause this pathogenic bacteria to release this thing called endotoxin, which has heaps of negative effects on your body. And if your lining of your intestines aren't nice and
intact,
and
then nice, tightly knitted,
then this endotoxin is going to go through and
into your bloodstream, leads to inflammation. Causes all sorts of problems. Inflammation, like I said, of your nervous system. That's your enteric nervous system, or your nervous system that controls your gut, and therefore you have all sorts of problems with insulin resistance or insulin problems, and but also then it goes further to affect your mood. So,
Interesting. So alcohol, big no-no for you?
yeah, I'm not a big drinker.
What is how much alcohol do you have to consume before it starts to really impact? Like I know it's probably different for everyone.
It
but
would be.
Like is it
Well,
because there's a big drinking culture these days, and
yeah.
especially amongst like young middle-aged mums. Sort of de-stress.
Yeah, the glass of wine with dinner.
Glass of wine,
Yeah.
but the most common thing that you hear from these young middle-aged mums is like, A, I'm putting on weight.
Yeah.
B, I'm bloated and
Yeah.
super sensitive to anything I eat, even if they are eating a good diet. I'm just wondering about that alcohol link. Like, is it one or two glasses? Is it a whole bottle?
It's a little
Is
bit
it-
hard.
Yeah,
I think it's more
okay.
consistency, really.
Right.
So if you were doing this every day,
Yep.
then your gut's not getting a chance to recover.
yeah.
So
Right.
I guess
You're going to have this presence of alcohol and its waste products, around, and it's always going to be persistent in your gut
Yeah.
bacteria. So,
Do you,
Prob-
think, do you think it's worse to consume the same amount of alcohol across the whole week, or is it all done?
Here we go.
Yeah, I was
Hal's
waiting for
trying
that.
to justify his binge
His
drinking
binge
on the
drinking.
weekend. Exactly.
so
I was waiting for that.
two glasses
Yeah.
of wine a day or 14 glasses of wine on a Saturday?
on a Saturday.
It's not a bad question though. It's an age-old question. Like, which is, I think
I'm
I
not
think we
gonna
know
buy
the
into
answer. You know, neither.
not
Hal,
going there.
neither.
Neither.
well, actually, your stomach has enzymes that actually break down alcohol as well. This alcohol dehydrogenase, and some people don't have this enzyme. That's why they get this flushing, right? Because alcohol is going through without even being broken down into this further step.
When you say flushing,
This
what
red
get red.
face.
right?
Yeah.
Explain the Asian flush.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
genetically, Asian people tend to have this enzyme less prevalent than other populations. So some people, So that's why some of my Chinese friends get a bit red when they have some alcohol. So
Okay.
yeah, and also all these other byproducts from alcohol when you're hungover, these aldehydes and things can influence your gut bacteria too.
Yeah.
True.
Most alcohol's full of preservatives and all that sort of stuff as well. It's just
Yeah.
another probably popular thing. The culture of Australian culture is, well, our cafe culture is drinking coffee. We're all addicted to coffee.
Yes.
Caffeine definitely has benefits in the sports nutrition world for sure, but how is coffee affecting gut health, or does it?
Oh, that might be. I'm not really sure. I haven't really looked into coffee. It is
caffeine.
going to influence. And okay, there is different things about. Maybe this is a good point to say what you're consuming regularly. Your gut bacteria gets used to, and you end up with a prevalence of the bacteria that like that. Right. So, for instance, we were talking about sugar and preservative, processed food. If you're eating a lot of that, you'll end up with these gut bacteria that that like that food, that consume that. So you end up with more, not a great balance in your gut. Then you think that you're craving that food. Let's go with chocolate, because you were talking about mums and not being able to lose weight, and Okay, so big thing is chocolate. They love their chocolate. I hear it all the time. I can't stop eating chocolate and I just crave it. And okay, so it's actually not your mind or your taste buds craving it. It's your gut bacteria. They're going, feed me, I need that.
So they're little chocolate fiends. They're addicted to chocolate.
Well, the ones that because they've been eating the chocolate, the gut bacteria are used to it, and so they're fermenting the chocolate, and they're like, yeah, feed me
So they're
more,
sending
feed
a
me more.
signal
So
up to
they're
the brain.
signaling that, your brain to eat more. So there you go with that mind-gut connection. So when it comes to coffee, I'm guessing it's pretty much the same. We're needing that in our gut bacteria.
Coffee does have some good benefits, though.
It does.
It's really high in antioxidants, polyphenols and things like that. So that can always help. It's freshly ground coffee is the best.
Nice.
Real coffee.
Real coffee.
Yeah. Actually, you make a good point about the polyphenols because that can actually have quite a beneficial effect on your gut microbiome and also your gut lining. So,
So maybe the
just
coffees
don't
are still in.
overdo it. Just don't overdo it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like sugar is the biggest evil part of your
Sugar?
diet that's going to contribute to poor gut health and not enough fiber.
Sugar
Yeah.
and processed foods.
Processed
Yes.
foods,
So
right.
preservatives and, processed meat has this thing called sodium nitrate in there, which is pretty bad for your gut bacteria as well.
Absolutely.
It creates this thing called TMAO.
So when you say processed meats, it's all your deli meats and stuff like that?
deli meat, sausages,
Bacon.
bacon.
Happy meals like Hal has
Hal's
for
Happy
every
Meals,
day.
yeah.
How many of those would you consume? My gosh.
It's only for the toy that he gets out. He doesn't actually like the food.
My diet is stellar except for alcohol.
Is it? Yeah. Well, that's good at your age, actually. 'Cause
It is really good.
most people's diet at 12 is actually just basically what their parents feed them. But no, you do eat well.
Well, my parents are super healthy. I'm vegetarian for 11 years. Which is
There you go.
It is.
Yeah. When I was younger, I was just on the mee goreng and eggs diet.
So how can we improve gut health through food? You've mentioned sort of eating lots more fiber
Yeah.
and eliminating too much sugar. Is there anything else that people can do, or
Eat, if you can manage to eat some bitter foods before, so priming the gut before you actually eat. So instead of that glass of wine with dinner, maybe people won't like this and nobody will do it. But
bitters?
something that's a bitter vegetables. So something like
Victoria bitters?
arugula. Did I say that right?
I'll take your word for it.
Rocket is quite good because,
Right.
and things like that, things that are a little bit bitter, and I'm not talking lemon, lime, and bitters,
Yeah.
but yeah, I knew you were thinking that.
Yeah.
It kind of primes the gut and it gets your digestive enzymes working. So that's something that you can start with. Otherwise, it's things like making sure that you time your meals right and that you're eating really good, healthy food and maybe incorporating some things like fermented foods. So sauerkrauts, kimchi, kombucha. I'll always go when it comes to kombucha, there's some commercial brands out there that are I find it really difficult to have the fizzy ones.
Slam them.
goes
I've
up my
always
nose.
wondered about those kombuchas that you buy off the shelf. Like I like drinking them because they're low sugar sort of fizzy drink and
Yeah.
they taste good and you think they're providing good benefit to your gut. Are they really?
Yeah, they have to be. They have to actually, because I wouldn't be able to call it that. It'd be
How-
false advertising.
so
But
how are
I
they doing
always
it?
go the smaller brands.
Right.
Go for the not so well-known brands because they're making them in smaller batches,
Okay.
and so therefore you kind of a bit. And I've tried lots of them, and I just find those smaller brands just that bit nicer. I make my own, so I very rarely buy it. We've got that really weird thing sitting in there. People come to my house and they go, "What is that alien thing?"
Do you have to keep them like in a cold storage environment? Like
No.
some of them sitting on the shelf and you just think,
Mine is sitting on the bench, and I live
Right.
near the Southern Highlands. So
Okay.
summertime, I'm changing them every week.
right,
Wintertime, they can 4 weeks.
right.
So I've just done my green tea and about to do my other one because I've got a green tea and a black tea one going there. It's really good.
Do you pop them often when you put them in the little jug after?
No, I chuck them straight in the fridge. I flavour them with tea,
Okay.
with tea bags. I've got some tea bags that I've found that I really, really like. So one of them's a peach one. It tastes amazing.
Nice.
Oh,
and
great.
kimchi and sauerkraut. What is that? What is
So-
it? Sauerkraut's like cabbage or something, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like a fermented
It's
cabbage.
fermented, yes.
So,
So
you're
is kimchi,
adding it
yeah.
to your food or you're just spooning it into your mouth? Or how do people...
Yeah. It's almost like a pickle, like think of it like that.
Well,
But-
pickles are as well.
Yeah, so some of your good bacteria loves this fermented food, even like miso soup and stuff,
Yes.
So, like Kate was mentioning, if you keep having this fermented food, the food that your bacteria likes, it's going to increase the population of this good bacteria.
So you're aiming to like add some of this to every meal throughout the day or have something in it with like
Yeah. I have a little bit of kimchi and, make my lunch. It's usually, obviously, because I'm out on the road, can't heat anything, so it's usually a salad, and I have a little bit in the corner, and I usually start with that because kimchi is nice and spicy, so it really gets you going and really primes your gut for what's coming next, and therefore you digest a little bit better.
So where are you getting
my
kimchi?
pickles?
Oh, you love your pickles? What?
Oh, these Indian pickles, so good.
So where are you getting kimchi from? They sell it in Coles and Woolies.
They do, yes. Again, smaller brands, smaller batches, and obviously any of kimchi, particularly any of the Asian grocery stores. You'll get really good kimchi.
Okay.
Got some good Korean friends. They can make you some as well.
Yeah.
All right, so what else for good gut health? I know a lot of people jump
Okay.
straight to probiotics these days as well.
Sometimes that's not the first thing you need to do. You need to actually, if we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of, Dhiren was talking about keeping the lining of your gut nice and healthy, glutamine and zinc. Glutamine and zinc.
It's a recognisable
I knew you guys would like that one.
in the sports nutrition world. We all love glutamine, but
So if you think of your gut lining like a brick wall, and the bricks are all the cells that line your gut, glutamine and zinc is actually almost like the mortar that holds them together. So it helps those, there's little things in your gut called tight junctions that hold them all together, hold those cells together. And they expand and contract, and they allow small molecules that are supposed to be going into your blood through. There are things that can irritate those tight junctions. There are things that can cause inflammation, and they break apart, and then you end up with a thing called leaky gut or intestinal permeability. This is not wanted. Glutamine and zinc, it feeds the enterocytes as well. It feeds the skin cells that are on the inside of your gut. They need it for energy. They have a high turnover. So they help to keep those cells healthy, but they also help keep those tight junctions nice and tight. So glutamine and zinc.
okay.
Cool.
Fabulous. Good place to start if you've got any kind of inflammatory condition. If you've got IBS, or if you've got even joint pain, any kind of skin issue that's, kind of coming up, even as minor as they might be, could be that your gut is not healthy.
And how much glutamine and zinc?
Well, this is why also why a high protein diet is associated with good gut health as well, because typically protein is high in glutamine. So,
Yep.
Absolutely.
yeah.
So how much glutamine? Should we be supplementing extra with glutamine if we've got poor gut health, or are we just relying on protein powder or foods, or what?
I think supplement, maybe short term,
Yep.
just to help get things underway. There are other things, obviously, that you can do. You've got, obviously, if there's inflammation in the gut, you've got to stem that inflammation as well. So you've got to look at what's causing the inflammation. Is it a food intolerance? Is it something that you eat regularly? Is it something that you're taking as medication? Some of those medications may be essential and you can't not take them. So you've got to protect your lining of your gut. So sitting on top of those cells, so if you imagine you've got this tube that is your gut, and sitting on top of those cells is a layer of mucus. It's meant to be there. It protects those cells, and that's where a lot of your bacteria are hiding, and they thrive in there. You need to keep that intact as well, because that can be eroded. Stress causes this big problem for that.
That was my next question.
Stress
Impact
is a
of stress
big
on gut
impact.
health.
A massive impact on
How?
gut health.
How does that happen?
Stress. So typically, stress increases your inflammation, and inflammation actually, through a series of events, erodes this mucin layer. So mucin is this mucus layer, which Kate was talking about. And if you have too much stress, too much inflammation, you're not going to be, having the optimal linings of your.
So we need to look at control of stress. So it's not just food related. It
Absolutely.
might be things that you can do in your daily.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's generally when my gut health, like I notice the biggest change in my gut health is if I'm
Yes.
stressed out at work, like Dhiren's giving me crap
it'd
in
be
the
so
office. and
difficult.
he's-
Even in the short term, a lot of athletes before a big event, what's one of the things that everybody does? Rush to the toilet, You get
Absolutely.
these nerves, and
Nervous poo, they call it.
exactly, yeah.
Well, even with what I do, I'm an endurance horse rider, so we notice the stressed horses ahead of us, because we're very, we just want to complete. We just want
social distance from
Yeah.
those nervous horses.
there can be mucus in their poo,
Right.
and that's take them on a float, and they get nervous on the float, and so you get them off float. There's usually a poo on the float, and it's you can see the mucus in it because it's shedding because they're stressed. So it has a massive effect. So if you think about it in human terms, of course we're going to, we're all mammals and it's all working kind of the same. They just have a lot more fibre.
Yeah, and we all know the benefits of exercise on stress as well.
Yes.
So everything's all linked. What about sleep?
Oh, sleep. Well, if you're not sleeping, then that puts a stress on your body, doesn't it?
What if you're someone like me? I struggle to sleep, right? I'm lucky to get 6 hours a night.
Okay.
And that's just, I don't know whether it's genetic or what. I wake up, I'm fresh, I'm not feeling run down or anything like that.
It's the caffeine.
Yeah, could be.
According to Hal, it's the caffeine.
I only have 2 coffees a day. I have the second one pretty late though, so it could be that.
Well, I have a bit. But I sleep like a baby. I can have a
bucket.
Full of coffee. I only have 2 a day.
I can have a pre-workout at 8 p.m. and go to sleep like a baby at 10.
That's
How
crazy.
do you
I
do
hate
that?
you for that. I hate you.
That's your liver.
Yeah.
Your liver's functioning.
If I have a pre-workout or a coffee that late, I'm gone. I'm wired. You can count that night out. I won't sleep.
Wow.
Well,
It's weird how it affects people
everybody has these
differently.
different tolerances
do.
to caffeine. So yeah.
It's how you're processing it.
Yeah.
Yes, sleep has a big impact on your microbiome, and vice versa. So if your gut's working quite nicely, then it's going to be settled, and that's when you're sleeping and when you're resting is when you're digesting and absorbing. So if you think about it, when you're performing something and you're running, say, let's go back to cavemen.
Well, you're talking to 2 now.
Yeah.
3 actually.
I was going to say, hang on, 2. Which
Make fire.
Make fire. Take digestive enzymes.
So, caveman's chasing, he's running and he's chasing down his food. And then when he goes back to the cave, it's all prepared and he sits back, and that's when he can digest. He's resting and digesting. So when you're running, your circulatory system is on your periphery. So to your muscles and to your eyes and, your brain, so you can focus on what you're doing. And then once that danger has gone, you're sitting back and you're resting and digesting it. Goes to your stomach and all of your organs so that it can actually absorb and do its job. So therefore you recover.
Yeah.
So
We've spoken about
there you
this
go.
on previous
We're talking about
exercise.
athletes and recovery, you know. That's exactly, you need that rest and digest phase.
Yeah.
So,
You have to, absorb all these nutrients, and when you're resting and digesting, your gut bacteria is also very important for synthesizing vitamins as well.
absolutely.
So a lot of vitamin synthesis happens in your gut.
A lot of B vitamins created by your gut bacteria. Very important for energy, for focus, for stress management.
Yeah. And then, also when you're resting and digesting from exercise, your gut bacteria also influences your inflammation modulation, how
True.
how it helps you get rid of this inflammation, which has an important role, but how you adapt to it and things. A lot of that comes back to your gut bacteria.
Nice.
Very important, huh?
So you've brought up digestive enzymes a few times in this podcast, and I know we put digestive enzymes into our protein powders.
Yes.
Why are they important? What are they
Just
doing?
It helps to enzymes break down bigger molecules. So they're helping the enzymes that you guys have got in your powders are helping a proteolytic. So they're breaking down proteins. So it's just going to make it easier for your body to absorb those. If it breaks down the protein into the amino acids that you need to absorb, then that's what you're absorbing, your amino acids. So digestive enzymes can be good. Again, you can do it with food.
Yeah.
You don't have to always take a supplement. What you guys are putting into the formulas, that's a nice little touch and they're all natural as well. They're from, you guys use plant.
Yeah, so
We're saying you guys, it's you as well.
I know, but you're the formulator.
Yeah, so the enzyme that's in all of our protein powders is papain, right? It comes from papaya. So,
It's a fabulous source.
people are pretty familiar with it because, you think of pawpaw cream, pawpaw ointment.
Yeah.
Why that's so effective is because it's high in this enzyme papain. So you put it on your hands, it's going to eat away the protein on the top layer of your hands. Put it on your lips, it's going to eat away all the dead skin. That's why it's so popular with people. Same.
It's miracle cream.
Yeah, it's
Is
so
that
good.
right?
So the same enzyme is what's in our protein shakes, So once you eat this protein, papain gets activated by your stomach and then breaks down the protein. Well, helps break it down.
Our protein powder is not just good for protein recovery. You can put them on your lips, for cracked lips and everything.
Make a little ointment with it.
So,
Face mask.
so I like it. Digestive enzymes. So we can get it through our food.
Yep.
There
There are enzymes on plants. There are already
Right.
enzymes there. There's also bacteria. I mean, Lactobacillus plantarum, for instance. Where do you think that comes from? A plant. You were asking about where we get our bacteria. We didn't quite, even we touched on it, but we didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
So, you obviously get that from skin-to-skin contact. There's human bacteria, which we need. We also call those commensal bacteria because they belong in the gut. So any of those in form of dried, supplement, they are going to take up rapidly in your gut, and they're going to dominate. But they are also very sensitive to outside influences as well. So that's why you've got to make sure that you replace them. There's one in particular that I like to tell people about that is one of the predominant species found in people who can eat what they like and don't put on weight. And all of a sudden they're coming off the shelf. People I'm teaching about them are like, I'm having that. But it's a commensal bacteria, and you get it when you're born, and you get it from your parents and, human interaction when you're a baby. But unfortunately it's highly sensitive to antibiotics. So
Right.
it's essential to replace that one. So it's essential to replace your bacteria after you've had antibiotics, absolutely. But there's all sorts of other sources. So yes, there's plants. So this is why fermented foods and kimchi and sauerkraut are so good, because it's the enzymes that are actually on the outside of the vegetables in the first place.
So kimchi and sauerkraut would be your go-to
Oh yeah,
foods for
I do
good
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually got my daughter on sauerkraut now. She loves a Reuben sandwich. She piles it on.
That's great.
Really? I had a whole jar and it's gone.
Again, I'm not trying to be controversial here, but
No.
how good at doctors? How good at?
Never.
Now, I'm not anti-doctor, okay? How good are doctors at identifying gut health?
They're getting better.
Okay.
They're getting a lot better because there is more research into it now. So the more research, doctors are evidence-based. They want to see the evidence. They want to see the research. So there is more now. It's becoming popular as well to do research on gut bacteria or gut health. But I would have to say that in the past it was not so good, but now you're much better.
Yeah.
Much better. And I would have to say there's a lot of doctors out there that do prescribe probiotics. If they're giving out a script for an antibiotic, they will say you should maybe go and get probiotics. Pharmacies are great at it. Some pharmacists are fantastic and will actually put a jar in the script bag when they're, into the little basket to go pay for it. And, you really they'll explain it. You need to do this because, as I said, 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years to return to your normal, back to a healthy gut. So essential to back that up with some probiotics, definitely.
So probiotics straight after antibiotics, and then obviously food choices for ongoing sort
Absolutely.
of solutions.
Yeah.
Do you combine the both? Like, do you need to use probiotics all the time, or is it
No,
like
not all the time.
an aggressive sort of start after antibiotics? And
You
then
can actually take probiotics at the same time, but not actually in the same, mouthful.
Right.
If you're on antibiotics, you can take a good quality probiotic 2 hours after your last antibiotic for the day. What that will do is, even though you're going to take an antibiotic again the next morning, and it's going to damage and disrupt all of the gut bacteria, in that time that you're taking your probiotic, if they're good quality and they've got good adhesion to the lining of your gut and they proliferate, like they multiply really quickly and they have all those characteristics, they will do their job and they will colonise as much as they can before the next morning you take another one. Yes, there's going to be a bit of damage, but you're going to prevent a lot of damage there in the first place and then continue to take them for a couple of months afterwards, just so that you are safeguarding your gut health, because they do so many things that are important.
Right.
The list is endless of what probiotics
So it's all about,
can do.
having this good population of bacteria, and sometimes
is.
you kill them off. You got to introduce some good ones in. Some food you have, has bad bacteria, good bacteria influences it. So it's all about this
Too much. High maintenance, these bacteria, aren't they?
Well, you are bacteria, so
Yeah.
You are.
I think you just called yourself high maintenance.
Nice one, Dhiren. Nice one.
I think we've covered any questions from you. Hal, I've covered all my questions. Have you got anything?
I think a common source of confusion for people is what is the difference between probiotics and prebiotics?
Ooh,
Yes.
good one.
Good one. Yes. Okay. So probiotics are the bacteria that offer us a benefit, but prebiotics is basically fibre. It's insoluble fibre. I think it's insoluble. Okay, it's fibre.
Yeah.
Mainly soluble, I think. Yeah.
That the bacteria consume.
Right.
So this is what they thrive on. If you feed them prebiotic fibre, they are going to thrive and multiply, and they're going to produce all of the wonderful things that we need. You don't have to take a prebiotic supplement if you're eating lots of plant foods.
Same plant foods you mentioned before.
No, any plant foods,
Right.
beans, carrots, whatever.
Yeah.
They've
Okay.
all got prebiotic fibre in them. Obviously, there are sometimes you might need more. I know that, and I'm not plugging, but Nutrilife
Nutralife's
all
a
of them.
sister vitamin brand to us here at
And
Musashi.
I'm only
so
mentioning them because I'm so familiar with them.
They-
This is my job.
it's a good brand. They focused
are.
heavily on gut health, and they've got some really great gut health products. So that's
Yeah.
probably why we brought them in here today. And you work closely with the Nutrilife team
do.
as well as us. So yeah, I guess
So all of their probiotics, all of their adult ones now have a prebiotic in them.
Mm-hmm.
So that and it's not a huge amount of prebiotic. It's not something that is going to change your gut structure, physiology. What it's going to do is feed those bacteria that are in that capsule at the time. Once they activate, they've got something there to eat straight away. So they will have the maximum benefit of that supplement.
Yeah. So probiotics, good bacteria. Prebiotics,
Food
food
for them.
for the bacteria.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Maybe you can touch on fiber as well, because we've been talking
Okay.
about it. But so you mentioned soluble and insoluble fiber, right? So I guess insoluble fiber is kind of like this, this physical fiber, stringy things that make it through, and soluble fiber is like jelly kind of
Yes.
things. So together
Chia seeds.
they work together.
right,
That's
yes,
a good
if you-
example. If
Yeah.
everyone's used chia seeds or made a chia pudding,
Yep,
that's a great example. It's that fibre on the outside of the seed.
like gooey sort of.
Yeah.
Anything kind of slimy is, well, not anything, but a lot of it from from
Yeah, careful.
Mucus.
a lot of vegetable things that have slime is actually soluble fiber. And then insoluble fiber is the physical things like the seeds and the things that make it through.
Cellulose.
Cellulose. Yeah.
What makes celery stand up? So those fibres that hold it, give it structure. We don't have the enzyme to break cellulose down, so it helps to bulk the stool, helps you go to the toilet easier.
Yeah. I think I talked about this on an old episode, but together they combine to make this barrier to help your gut lining. So if you think of insoluble fiber like a strainer, it's gonna let stuff through because it's the holes are too big. But if you cover that with like Vaseline, it might be able
that's a
to
really-
create an impermeable nice barrier.
That's a really good analogy. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, steal
Thanks.
it.
Dhiren's the king of analogies.
Okay.
He loves them.
Full of one-liners and analogies.
So gut relief. Let's talk a little bit about gut relief.
Okay,
What does
wonderful
that do?
product. This does anything that any kind of symptom you can imagine from top to bottom, it's going to help with. So reflux. It's got fibres in there that are going, so it has slippery elm, marshmallow and aloe vera, which is going to soothe the esophagus. If you're getting reflux, it's going to help dampen down. It's going to help kind of make this bit of a barrier and help to soothe that and just help with that inflammation. There is some curcumin in there, the Mariva type curcumin, that's going to definitely have an impact on inflammation, so it's going to help with that as well. So reflux, gastritis, it's just going to help with the symptoms of a lot of those things.
Okay. So when should we be using that? Like I use it first thing in the morning, but does it matter? Like what time of the day?
This is a broad kind of thing.
Okay.
I use it just whenever I get a random gut pain.
Okay.
Generally when I'm sitting all day. So if I've been in a sales meeting and, we get fed really nice food, but we're sitting all day. We're not used to sitting because I'm sitting and I'm used to getting in and out of the car and moving. It kind of just sits there and it doesn't, nothing's moving. And so I'll get this random weird gut pain. Can't explain it. Don't know what it is. Take a gut relief, gone. It goes really quickly because there is a herb in there that helps to increase bile production. So it helps to digest your food. It's soothing anything with the aloe vera, slippery on marshmallow.
Got some glutamine in there as well.
Glutamine, yes. We've got some glutamine and zinc. Combine those two. Perfect for your gut barrier.
Bit of an all-round solution.
It's a great all-round solution. So you can take it daily if you want to, if you need to, or you can take it randomly like I do and just have a scoop. You can split the dose. You can have it morning, night. You can have it before your meal to maybe...
I add a scoop to my protein shake sometimes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's got a nice orangey flavour.
Yeah,
It goes really nice with the greens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just add it to a vanilla shake and it kind of makes like a yellow shake, but it's...
Yeah.
You just touched on moving after a meal. Is that important?
Yeah, just doesn't have to be going for a run because that would not be a good idea. But walking, just moving around. So it just helps because you're using your abdominal muscles. It helps to mechanically move things, and it just helps because of gravity. If you're upright, things are just moving a little bit. There's yoga poses and, where you sort of sit back a little bit and open up that area so that things can move. And
Does that help digestion?
I don't know. I think Dhiren might be, he's a bit more into yoga than myself.
But yeah.
I do it, but I don't know lots of it.
The old school vacuum pose in bodybuilding.
Yeah. There you go. Well, that will help. It
Yeah.
will actually help because you're
Contracting it all.
you're
all that
contracting
area,
and then it's definitely going to help move things, and you're using your abdominal muscles to do that as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Breathing.
I should probably do some
Using
of that.
your
a bit
diaphragm.
more movement after eating, just
Yeah.
don't eat and watch Netflix straight away like
Yeah.
how many people do every single day. Yeah.
That's
And
true. You
watching
do-
the telly while you're eating, we were even talking about that before.
Yeah.
So sit at the dining table, you tend to sit up a bit straighter, don't you?
True. I'm a sloucher.
Yeah.
Hal can't sit up straight. His head hits the ceiling. He's 8'3", so we covered off everything you guys want to cover off. Is there anything
think
else that
so.
you think's important?
No, I think we've done.
No, I think it's pretty important. I guess, some of the latest info that's coming out for athletes is, they've studied elite athletes that tend to have different gut bacteria from, regular people. So there are some specific bacteria that, these elite athletes have that actually have
Akkermansia for mucinophilia.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it has a big influence on performance.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And to the extent that some scientists have trialed gut bacteria transplants.
Yeah.
Fecal transplants?
Fecal
Yeah.
transplants.
I was going to bring this up, actually. What is involved in a fecal transplant?
It's literally what it sounds like.
Whose feces are you
So
using?
take some feces from an athlete and put it into... Well, actually, they did it on mice. So, they
An
haven't-
athlete mice?
Yeah. Well,
A mouse that's been on the wheel.
Right. So like a fit,
Running.
healthy
Yeah.
mice.
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
what was the results? What happened?
The mice that they did this transplant to had, significantly improved parameters of fitness and whatever they were looking at.
Weight.
Are people doing
They
this?
even do it with weight, looking at weight gain and because they breed these mice with no bacteria at all, which is really horrible, poor little things. But they take the bacteria from the lean mouse and put it in the obese mouse, and the obese mouse loses weight, and they do it vice versa, and it actually
So have they done this in humans?
Well, they haven't done transplants like that in humans, but people
Not
are
meant to.
experimenting.
People do.
Experiment what, at home by themselves? Hey.
Hey, you look nice and lean.
Mind boggles.
Well,
You're going to have all these people hanging around like athletes' bathrooms now.
well, have you heard about the latest trend, glitter poop?
No?
Oh, no.
What is it?
So basically, you get this
Glitter poop?
capsule full of like glitter foil,
Oh,
gold,
no.
gold foil. When you swallow it, your poop is all glittery and shiny. And
That's so good. Can you get like a rainbow glitter one? I might get that for my dog.
I don't need to. My
How's
dog eats
this
all sorts of things.
well,
Loom bands. Remember when loom bands were a thing?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Well, stay tuned for Musashi glitter poops. You're bringing those out shortly. I think we should probably move on to some listener questions. Hal, what have you got for us this week?
We already touched on the first one a little bit from David Gabashi, but it's more to do with exercise. He says, how does binge drinking affect your ability to exercise?
Who's this from?
Okay, David Gabashi.
Otherwise known as Hal. How does binge drinking affect your ability to exercise?
Prevent gains or just add weight in the form of carbs and sugar. So outside of gut health, how does drinking or binge drinking affect your ability to exercise?
I'm not a huge drinker, so I'm probably not best. Whenever I drink, like the next day I'm a writer. I don't want to train. I feel lethargic. I feel like crap.
well, I guess the short-term, impact is pretty clear that drinking, you're not going to perform the best the next day. I mean, what's funny? Liverpool won the Premier League. First game after winning, they got hammered, because they've been...
Oh, they went out and partied.
Obviously, they've been partying for 3 days.
There you go. That's a scientific study done right there. That's
yeah.
how it affects your performance.
Yeah. But actually, they have studied it, and alcohol is pretty detrimental, across the board to a lot of exercise performance. But, having a good social life, social interaction is also important to your overall well-being. So, got to balance it out.
True.
Also,
well, if you're binge drinking, your liver is overloaded in a big way. So it can't function normally, and it can't help with your energy and processing your fats and all of your nutrients.
Liver's the most underrated organ in the body, I reckon.
It's the most abused.
It is the most abused. But it's directly related to fat loss and things like that, isn't it? Like, how important is the liver for...
Yeah, so super important. And, a lot of people that drink too much alcohol have this thing called fatty liver disease. Pretty bad. It's pretty widespread in society, probably more so than people think. And also, having a poor diet can impact your liver in other ways.
Absolutely.
How do you know if you've got fatty liver disease?
Blood test.
Yeah.
Blood test.
Yeah.
And what do you got to ask for? I want to know if I've got...
Well, if you have
just
some
standard
symptoms
blood.
and things, a doctor will typically...
Liver function.
Yeah.
Right.
Standard liver function test.
You can see the enzymes in your liver and, how they stack up, because your liver's full of enzymes. It breaks down a lot of things.
Right. Should we send Hal off for a liver test?
I think so.
We should actually, and we'll report back.
He'll probably come back great. He's only 22.
Yeah. Nothing impacts you when you're 22.
Well, he's at uni, and uni is, the hardest time for your liver. I guess the other thing is alcohol itself has some excess calories, even though outside of the carbs and sugars that you're probably having with, sweet drinks or, even beer has quite a bit of carbs and things. Alcohol itself has quite a lot of energy and calories. So you're getting all this excess energy if you don't need it.
So it's probably a part of people's diets. They're not actually attributing those calories. They're not counting them. They're not conscious of those because you're sort of just
not even counting how many drinks you had.
That's
how
it.
you're going to be counting the calories.
But you lose count after a few, don't you?
Exactly.
Any more questions, Hal?
Yeah. Eleanor de Jersey says, what recovers quicker, chest or back? And is it true that your legs recover quicker than your upper body?
It's probably different for everyone, and it can differ from session to session. I think, for me, legs and back are probably the two body parts that take the longest to recover, probably because they're the two biggest body parts in the body, and they're probably the two areas that you train the heaviest and the hardest. So for me, legs and back usually take longer to recover. I know my legs, I only train them once a week, but they're generally taking... I'm old, so don't use me as an example, but usually 4 or 5 days before the soreness and everything's gone.
And it also depends on your specific adaptation. If you're training legs a lot, they're going to recover a lot faster. First day back in the gym after lockdown, I was pretty sore. And once upon a time, I used to squat 3 times a week and not feel sore at all. So I think the consensus is your legs tend to recover a bit faster though.
Well, you're on them all the time.
Exactly.
And it depends how you're training them as well, whether it's high volume, low volume. There's a lot of other contributing factors. What about you? What body part gets sorest the most? You said you
Well.
did a shoulder workout just before we walked in here.
I didn't.
My shoulders rarely get sore though.
Yeah,
like out of all
likewise.
the muscle groups, I
Yeah.
barely feel soreness in my shoulders.
I think legs takes the longest, and upper back. I'm a bit sore from
Yep.
my rides yesterday, so
Yeah.
What about you? What body part gets the sorest?
Well,
Glutes for you?
Flexing constantly.
everything. Yeah.
Always
so
flexing these glutes around the office.
every Monday I'm flexing for an hour over here, just my left arm. I would say probably my chest gets pretty sore when I'm doing a lot of reps benching, but
Your chest is probably your strongest body part as well.
well,
It's
obviously,
giant. It's giant, yeah. Take your shirt off. Show us. If I have to.
if I have to.
We even answer the question, what recovers quicker, chest or back? I think it's down to so many factors.
Yeah.
I would say, I don't know.
I would say your legs. Yeah, typically your legs should be able to.
Oh, your legs recover quicker than your upper body, yeah.
I mean, it would be hard for you to train upper body 3 times a week, like chest.
Yep, true.
But a lot of people do train lower body quite often.
Cool. If you've got any listener questions, just flick them to us Instagram or via podcast@musashi.com. We welcome any questions. What's happening in sports? Heaps.
Quite a fair bit.
Got anything interesting today?
Dude, Pat Mahomes has signed the most lucrative deal in NFL history. 10 years, $400 million, with the potential to go up to about $503 million if they make playoff berths.
So, $400 million
That's
for a
crazy.
10-year deal. How old is this guy?
Young.
I don't even know him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is big money.
Yeah.
It feels like a waste of money to me. So many better things we could be spending money on than paying Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, he's a gun. He deserves it.
But
Yeah.
I can't, I don't follow NFL at all, but NBA, I can't imagine too many players I'd want to sign for 10 years. 'cause
It's a
like-
long
Yeah.
deal.
It's a big
What if
commitment.
you get injured or they, they decline?
Mm.
In hindsight, LeBron, definitely. But,
Yeah, but how do you know that?
Yeah.
They're obviously taking a huge gamble. There's probably so many little clauses within these contracts anyway. Like, there's so many outs. How many long-term contracts do you see where it's broken within a couple of years?
Yeah.
We see it so much in the NRL with coaches.
Mm. And just to get this big payout afterwards.
Yeah, you lose 2 in a row now in the NRL and the coach gets sacked.
Yeah.
Like, and you think, didn't they have a contract?
did you see Darren Williams from the NBA, an old all-star? He was getting paid $15,000 every day until last week. Hasn't played in about 8 years
Yeah.
What?
because of his contract. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's like your contract here at Musashi, isn't it? Retirement benefits and everything.
Well, I don't know about that. But yeah, 10 years, 400 million. Pretty crazy.
Set for life.
But I don't know how, the broadcast deals and things are going to be affected. Stadium revenue is going to be affected in the short term. So we never know what's going to happen in the sporting world.
Crazy to sign a big deal, especially what's going on in the world at the moment. What else has happened, Hal?
We've got some bad news as well. Australian Winter Olympian Alex Pullin, I think I pronounced that right, has died at the age of 32.
Chumpy Pullin, probably our most well-known Winter Olympic athlete. He was a flag bearer, I think, at the last Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
Snowboarder, legend of a guy, real big role model in the Australian Winter Olympic community. So that's really sad. I think he was out spearfishing
Yeah.
with snort.
Shallow
I don't think he
water.
had any like scuba diving gear or anything like that.
He just had a really heavy kind of belt, apparently, just dragged him down.
Far out.
So sad, man. Yeah.
It is. It's crazy. Life's precious.
Yeah.
Even if you're an elite level athlete, I mean,
But 2-time world champion.
legend.
Wow.
It's so sad. Hell, he was only young too. What? Just 32 years old.
Wow. Yeah. Pretty young.
Yep. Kate's age.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Look, heart goes out to his family, supporters, and obviously,
The ocean's a cruel place.
the ocean is a wild, cruel place. What else, Hal? Something a bit more upbeat. It was good to pay respect to Chumpy Pullin though.
100%. More upbeat, Paul Gallen is set to fight UFC hero Mark Hunt.
Oh, I'm excited.
Mark Hunt, he's obviously not in the UFC anymore, but he's had a long career. He's in his 40s and a great fighter.
Yeah, the walk-off KO king.
He is. He's had so much experience in fighting. and he's being pinned against Paul Gallen,
Yeah.
who has delved into boxing in recent years. He's had a few good fights. I think his last fight was against Barry Hall.
I think it's a boxing
Fight.
not MMA. But
I struggle to see how this gets sanctioned.
yeah.
It's
If it goes ahead, who's your money on?
Mark Hunt easily.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's getting older, but I don't know. Who knows? Anything can happen in fighting, but my money would be strongly on Mark Hunt.
Mark Hunt is an elite kickboxer. People are
yeah.
forgetting. He's he's done the hard yards in kickboxing. Yeah.
100%. Do you follow fighting, Kate?
No.
What's your sport of
have
choice is
time.
equestrian, true?
Well, I don't have time.
What's going on in the equestrian world?
I don't know.
Our listeners will be super interested in
I'm
knowing.
sure they would. I have no idea.
What else is going on, Hal?
Usain Bolt has revealed the name of his new baby daughter.
Usain Bolt's baby daughter.
Yeah.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Oh,
I thought you were looking at this.
I don't know. Let's look it up. I know her middle name is Lightning.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
lightning bolt.
He's the only person who can get away with that.
what is
He
it?
is.
Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt daughter. Look it up now.
It's been in the news.
Geez,
a
Hal,
fair
I
bit.
would have thought you would have been a bit better prepared.
Yeah.
Come on, Hal.
Usain Bolt's the
Olympia. Sorry, I did.
Oh, of
Olympia.
course.
Olympia Lightning Bolt. What a name.
Oh, wow.
That's so fitting.
That poor
for-
child. She's got a lot to live up to,
I
hasn't
know.
she?
She has to be the fastest woman alive
One
now.
of the greatest Olympians of all time. So.
The only
Wow.
reason he can get away with that is also his sense of humour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fast, but if he wasn't funny, people would be rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I love watching him. High fiving the guys on the track.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
stewards. Yeah. it's
He's always so good with the people, and that's why he's so well loved. Like he takes his time out. But imagine being that calm before that sort of race.
Yeah.
I'd be.
Yeah.
I'd be
'Cause he
doing
knows he's got it.
I'd be doing my nervous poos that we were talking about earlier. But he's so calm and cool, and
I actually saw something else that somebody broke his 200-meter record last weekend, but they made an error that they didn't run 200 meters.
Oh, no.
they only ran 185 or something. They set him up in the wrong lane. And
Oh, no.
it was like a virtual race, so they had multiple people racing all across the world,
Oh, wow.
and they had them set up, and it was like,
Oh, he was too short.
Yeah.
but yeah.
You'd be crushed.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. I don't know his
But
name.
apparently that guy's an up and coming superstar.
Ooh,
So
so we'll
he's
hear more about him.
to take on Usain Bolt's record. So we'll see.
Oh, good.
I think Usain Bolt's one of a kind.
Yeah, I think so.
He'll probably be happy to have some competition.
Oh yeah, he's retired.
Yeah,
isn't
he's
he?
retired.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
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 What
you
else
go.
is going on, Hal?
Told you I don't know anything.
Yes, you do.
AFL commentators have been accused of body shaming in an Essendon game.
AFL commentators, yeah, body shaming, calling one of the players a bit pudgy, a bit fat.
Yeah, coming back
Oh,
from
come on.
lockdown. Yeah.
It's probably happened a fair. Like, these guys have been limited, and especially depending on what state you've been in,
Yeah.
you're in. You might not be allowed outside. You might not be allowed to gyms.
Yeah.
So it would severely impact their training, and to body shame someone at this stage after like lockdown, it's pretty ordinary.
It is, but if you're a professional athlete, you should you don't know when the season's going to start again. Maybe body shaming's bad, but your fitness and your match preparedness in general should you should be taking care of it.
I think so
in the
too.
off-season,
I
in the
agree with
lockdown,
that.
Yeah.
As a professional athlete, I mean, it's your job to stay in shape year
If you're
round.
getting 400 million for 10 years.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pat Mahomes wouldn't have got out of shape.
Nope.
You'd never hear about that in the NRL. Drinking that many beers every week, and half of them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Coming further.
All the footy heads will be finding you now on Instagram. How you'll be copying the abuse.
Yeah.
What else?
They don't got the reach.
What else we got?
That's it for sports news.
Sports news.
Mystery quote of the week.
Oh yeah, athlete, which I've never ever guessed. Darren's 1-0 in
I
this,
thought
or
you
2-0.
got it last week, Conor
Oh,
McGregor.
that was a gimme for both of us.
Yeah.
We have to guess which athlete said this quote.
Ah,
I'm gonna let
right.
Kate guess first today.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
It's an equestrian athlete. So it's right.
I told you, I don't even know who now.
The quote is, if you're afraid of failure, you don't deserve to be successful. Give you a hint.
Yes.
Is,
What's a sport?
Basketball.
It's always basketball, Hal.
Hal plays basketball.
I know.
It's one of Shaq's nemesis.
Oh, I've got no idea. Charles Barkley.
Bingo.
What?
You got it.
Charles Barkley.
Wow.
How did I get
How
that?
did you get that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just guessed. That's like one of 3 basketball players I know. I love Charles Barkley, though. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's cool.
He was a savage on the court.
Yeah.
Very physical,
Yeah, exactly.
posing character. Cool. 1 all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now for our favorite part.
You're looking at me and laughing. No.
The Miyamoto Musashi philosophy and quote, and how usually, we look at the book of fibering some of Musashi's old stuff and try and apply it to modern topics like gut health.
Good
Well,
on
I
ya.
know when
Here we
Miyamoto Musashi sat down and wrote his 1,000 quotes,
Yeah.
he had gut health on the forefront of his mind.
Yeah.
So what did he have to say about
Well,
gut health?
actually, fun fact, Miyamoto Musashi died from some kind of stomach cancer or something like that.
Did
Oh,
he?
dear.
Yeah.
Not enough kimchi.
No samurai could kill him, but, gut health did.
Wow.
Wow. There you go. So it says
That's more
Yeah.
informative than his quote.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Well,
that.
they don't know because it's hard to diagnose in the 1600s what exactly killed him. But
Definitely microbiome.
Yeah.
I can tell.
okay, so
Okay,
the
what's
quote of the week
quote?
is:
Okay, hang on. You know the rules. Get
Deep
nice and
voice.
close to the mic.
"Nobody is strong and nobody is weak if he conceives of the body from the head to the sole of the foot as a unity in which a living mind circulates everywhere equally."
I'm so lost.
Yeah. Well, what he's saying is, nobody's strong and nobody's weak if you think of yourself from your head to your feet. Just like gut health, you got to think of your gut health from your mouth to your anus,
Mouth to anus. I think we should replace that quote with, instead of head to feet, it should be mouth to anus.
Well, the meaning is still there.
So what would you take from that quote? How would you apply that to gut health, Dhiren?
Well, all stages of your gut are important. Sitting down, mindfully eating. Having the correct enzymes in your stomach to break down food, chewing your food correctly, having good fiber, good bacteria in your gut, and
can make you strong.
yeah, and if you need at the other end some glitter poop is always an option.
Just to make you sparkle.
It's pretty cool how all of his quotes can apply to today's living.
Yeah.
So it's everyone check out the Book of 5 Rings if you haven't already. It's pretty cool. Anything else we want to cover? I think that's it for today.
Cool.
Hal, all good?
I'm happy.
Many thanks to Kayte. for
Thank
coming
you,
on.
Kayte.
Thank you
for
very
coming
much
in.
for
Hope you-
having me.
I hope you had fun.
I had heaps of fun.
Yeah.
This is good.
Until next time, we'll get you back on in the near future again.
Yeah. I've got
Covering-
heaps more info there. So.
Ooh,
Cool.
what could be one of our next topics that we could discuss?
Well, we could probably dive down one of those rabbit holes of, maybe looking at the gut-mind connection or even weight loss and how it affects weight loss or weight in general, not just weight loss, but
I think
how
those would be
it
some interesting topics.
Definitely.
even things like estrogen dominance. I know most of your listeners are probably male, but they got mums and sisters and
Estrogen is
Well,
still
we-
fairly
We do have a lot of female athletes using
Absolutely,
Musashi.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
so they should.
Yeah.
It's for everyone.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. Until next time, thanks again, Kay.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dhiren. Thanks, Hal.
Thanks,
Musashi out. Oh, thanks.